Hi aspirants, we all know that change is the universal law. Change is constant. Everything changes with time and necessity. And so our Indian constitution is no different. It has undergone a series of changes in the last several years, and these are known as constitutional amendments. My name is S. Sona, one of the faculties in Edufy Institute, Northeast India's leading institute when it comes to dealing with defense examinations. And today we are going to discuss about most important constitutional amendments that has taken place so far. So, without any delay, we are going to start with the first constitutional amendment. Aspirants, the first constitutional amendment has taken place in the year 1951, and it was basically to protect the land reform laws, and the major important point that it added one more schedule to the Constitution of India. That was the ninth schedule. So I'm going to give you a shortcut trick for that. The trick is that since we had 8 schedules earlier, we done the first constitutional amendment. 8 plus 1 becomes 9. It also poses some reasonable restrictions on the Article 19, that is freedom of speech and expression in the national interest. So that was all about the first constitutional amendment. Remember, aspirants, you are required to remember the year and the major changes that took place. So next we are going to move to the 8th constitutional amendment that took place in the year 1960. Now what it did, it basically extended the reservation of seats of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in the representation of Lok Sabha and state legislature. So I don't think we have anything extra to add in this particular slide. The 8th schedule just gives some extended reservation of SCs and STs in the state legislature and the Lok Sabha. Now we are moving to the 21st constitutional amendment. Remember, when we are dealing with the addition of languages in the 8th schedule, basically 8th schedule deals with the language section. So there are 3 important constitutional amendments regarding the 8th schedule. The first is the 21st constitutional amendment, and basically the 21st constitutional amendment, it added the language Sindhi as one of the official languages of the 8th schedule. Remember, the 8th schedule includes the official language of the Indian Constitution, and Sindhi was added by the 21st constitutional amendment. And with this, the number of languages in the 8th schedule become 15. Previously it was 14 and it was changed to 15 after the addition of Sindhi language. Next, we are moving to the 25th constitutional amendment. Basically, it was for the curtailment of the fundamental right to property. Previously, fundamental right to property was there, but due to some reasons, it was curtailed. In order to protect the national interest, it was curtailed. It was not totally removed, but it was curtailed. Okay? It took place in the year 1971. We must remember that it took place in the year 1971. Now, this is one of the most important constitutional amendments, and it took place in the year 1976. 42nd constitutional amendment in the year 1976. So I'm going to give you one more trick to remember this particular amendment, is that if we are adding 4 plus 2, it becomes 6, is not it? If we are adding 4 plus 2, it becomes 6, is not it? So 42nd constitutional amendment, it took place in the year 1976. So this constitutional amendment particularly added 3 words that is very important: socialist, secular and integrity in the preamble of the Indian Constitution. Along with this, it added a new part, that is part 4A, that is basically our fundamental duties. So it added part 4A, which is Article 51A in the Constitution of India. In the Constitution of India. Along with that, it also added several other but We are not going to discuss all the points. We're just going to discuss the important ones. Now, the next most important constitutional amendment is the 44th constitutional amendment, and it took place in the year 1978. So again, I'm going to give you one more trick for that. Friends, if I'm adding 4 plus 4, it becomes 8, is not it? So 44th constitutional amendment in the year 1978. So what was most important regarding this amendment, that it substituted the term armed rebellion with the earlier internal disturbance in case of national emergency. Previously, national emergency can be imposed on this ground saying internal disturbance. This was not very clear. This was vague. Okay, so now it was substituted with the term known as armed rebellion, and it also some provisions such as president can proclaim emergency only on the basis of written advice. Written advice become compulsory for the imposition of national emergency, and this by this constitutional amendment, fundamental right to property was totally removed and it became a legal right under the article 300A. So this was one of the most important points regarding the 44th constitutional amendment, and it also provided that during national emergencies, articles such as 20 and 21 cannot be suspended. Most of the times during the national emergency, fundamental rights are suspended, but these two rights were given exception that they cannot be suspended even during the national emergency. Now, regarding voting, it is very important. The 61st constitutional amendment, that took place in the year 1988, it reduced the voting age from 21 years to 18 years for Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly. So previously, when the voting age was 21, it was reduced to 18. So it increased the participants of the younger age group. Friends, as I told you earlier that regarding the 8 schedules, we are having 3 constitutional amendments. So what were those? The first one was 21st, the second one was 71st. Now, what will happen if I'm adding 21 and 71? It will be 92, is not it? So same, the 92nd constitutional amendment is also regarding the amendment of the languages in the 8th schedule. So if I say what is 92nd constitutional amendment, it added 4 more languages in the Constitution of India under 8th schedule, and it added Bodo, Dogri, Santhali and Maithili. And after this constitutional amendment, the total languages in the 8th schedule have been increased from 18 to 22. So I have given you the trick. 21st, the first constitutional amendment regarding the language part, the 71st, the second, and if we add those, we are getting 92, that is the third. And after all this constitutional amendment, we are getting the number of languages in the 8th schedule is 22. So this was a shortcut trick how to remember the languages and the constitutional amendment regarding the languages in the 8th schedule. Now, the 92nd constitutional amendment gave constitutional status. When I'm saying giving constitutional status, it means it is being mentioned in the Constitution of India. Now, it added part 9B and also added articles 243ZH to 243ZT. The 97th constitutional amendment gave constitutional status to cooperative societies. Cooperative societies. Moving to the next slide, we are having the 100th constitutional amendment. So friends, if I say that friendship is always built on trust, is not it? So when the trust is 100%, the friendship flourishes, is not it? So this 100th constitutional amendment is regarding the friendship of India and Bangladesh. So what happened after this constitutional amendment? The acquisition of territories by India was transferred to Bangladesh. So it strengthened the bilateral relationship between India and Bangladesh, and it strengthened their friendship, is not it? So we can learn in such a manner that 100% trust was built, is not it? So moving to the next slide, we are going is 101st Constitutional Amendment. We often heard our parents saying that 101 rupees shagun or 101 rupees shagun. The 101st Constitutional Amendment is somewhere kind of this only, that with 101st Constitutional Amendment we added GST, that is Goods and Services Tax. So by this manner you can remember in an easy and holistic manner. So the 101st Constitutional Amendment, it enacted in the year 2016, and it was basically for the Goods and Services Tax. Moving to the next slide, we are having the 102nd Constitutional Amendment, and basically it was for the formation of NCBC, National Commission for Backward Classes. Previously, we are having National Commission for Scheduled Caste, then National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, and as I've told you earlier, then these two commissions gave rise to this NCBC under Article 338B. Under Article 338B. 338 is for National Commission for Scheduled Caste, 338A is for National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, and 338B is for National Commission of Backward Classes. Backward classes. Moving to the next slide, we are having 103rd Constitutional Amendment, and it is basically for the reservation of economically weaker section in the academic as well as government job sectors. During notification, we must have seen such EWS quota, is not it? It was basically regarding this only, that we are going to give 10% reservation to the candidates belonging to the economically weaker section based on their annual income. So it was basically in the academic section as well as in the government job section. So moving to the next slide, we are having 104th Constitutional Amendment. What it did, that previously we were having reservation in the Lok Sabha and State Legislative Assembly for the Anglo-Indians. When I'm saying Anglo-Indians, which means there are Britishers who settled in Indian subcontinent. So they were having some reservations in the Indian Parliament. Okay, be it Lok Sabha or State Legislative Assembly. So later on we realized that this is not that important. So we removed their quota from the Lok Sabha as well as State Legislative Assembly, and it also extended reservation for SCs and STs in the legislative assemblies for up to 10 years. Moving to the next slide, we are having moving to the next slide, we are going to deal with 105th Constitutional Amendment, which took place in the year 2021. Now what it did, that it restored the power of the states and union territories to make and manage their own list of educationally and socially backward classes. Now, the one condition that the list must be in accordance with law, and even if the list is having slight difference with the state, it is with the center, it is okay. Moving on to the next slide, we are having the most recent constitutional amendment, the 106th Constitutional Amendment, or Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, that took place in the year 2023. Now what it did, it reserved 1/3 of the seats of the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies of the states and the union territories. Okay, so what it did, it targeted to increase the representation of women in the legislature of the country. So friends, that was all from my side for today. If you want to learn more interesting topics in such a easy and simple manner, stay connected with Edufy. Thank you.